What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazique, aka Unique Mazique, the hardest working man in sports and gaming. And I am coming to you with this Mazique Speaks is late today. And there's a few reasons for this. Unfortunately, my family and I had to deal with a tragedy last night. We lost someone, my brother. My brother's um, fiance, girlfriend, passed away yesterday, and it was uh, needless to say, it has been a tough day and a tough night. Um, Happened on my wife's birthday, so the gambit of emotions really ran all over the place yesterday. So kind of really has set things behind us, but I want to really give a shout out to my brother. He's not my blood brother, but I almost hesitate to even make that differentiation because uh, I'm 44 years old and I've known him since I was in fourth grade. Um, Probably more like third grade, but in class together since fourth grade. So, long time ago, we stopped with the friend thing because we passed that a long time ago. So, whatever pain or hurt that he feels, essentially, I feel too. And my family is in that same place. So I am, as I've told him on several occasions since last night, my prayers are out to him, to his girl's family, to her baby, and to anybody else who lost somebody yesterday or recently. It's been a tough day. But talking to him, and he's given me kind of the push to say, go ahead. Yeah, his strength is really admirable in my opinion. Just all things considered, for her to pass away so suddenly, and for him to be operating even as well as he is doing right now is just really it's amazing to me and to my son, and I'm proud to have my son have an opportunity to watch him deal with such a tough situation the way he is. And I can only hope that, God forbid, if I'm in something like that, that I would handle it the same way. So um, I am going to talk some sports because usually that is where we can go to take a little bit of the load off. So it's a couple things that I want to talk about today. And first and foremost is something that if you're a Chicago Bears fan, this should, I think, it should have at least crossed your mind, right? I'm not saying you should be dwelling on it. I'm not saying that you should be thinking about it every waking moment and feeling like it's a real possibility for you. But you got to ask yourself about this right here. Should the Bears really be seriously pursuing signing this man, the greatest quarterback, in my opinion, who has ever lived? Tom Brady is a free agent. It appears to me that the Patriots are non-committal to whether or not they're going to deal with him. I mean, for the next year, I shouldn't say deal with him. You don't deal with Tom Brady. Tom Brady on your team is it's a privilege to have him on your team. He's 42 years old still, but still plays at a high level. I think most people who are being objective would say that yes, he has shown a bit of fall off, but he is still a magnificent player, I think. And I do appreciate the condolences, Jordan, and I also appreciate you watching. Um, but yes, Tom Brady is still a high level quarterback, and I think, come on, I don't think we have to say he would definitely represent an upgrade over Mitch Trubisky. And I know I get a lot of flack here so far on my show about bashing Trubisky, but I'm not. I don't even think I'm bashing him. I think I'm just being real. I think I'm being very realistic about what he is, who he is, and what he's brought to this team. And there's obviously room for improvement. There's room for upgrade. I think Tom Brady represents that. Um, Obviously, if you go after Tom Brady, you're not going after a long-term solution. In my opinion, what you're doing is you're trying to take advantage of a potential championship window because you have a championship level defense, which I 100% believe that that's what the Bears have. I believe they have a championship level defense. Um, and it's a shame if you have such an important aspect of a team in place and the entire journey is being held back because you are inept in another place. Now, and I hear it. I've heard it whenever this conversation has been had. Matt Nagy's style and system doesn't fit Tom Brady. I totally get that. But this is Tom Brady. Okay. This is Tom Brady. This is not freaking Nick Foles, or this is this is not even Phillip Rivers, which is another guy who's free, but I wouldn't necessarily advise. This is Tom Brady. And there is a certain level of football IQ, presence, leadership, the whole nine that is included with Tom Brady. You could even bring Tom Brady in for 2 years, allow him to play till he's 45 years old or what have you, and say, okay, Tom, how about this? How about you're the starter and you are going to mentor Mitchell Trubisky? We're going to keep Trubisky on, and we're going to tell him, look, bro, you're going to learn from Tom Brady. If Tom gets hurt, obviously you are the guy, and we want you to study under the greatest. And if obviously he may not want to accept that, he's been a starter since he's been in the league, whatever, you then might have to go and get a different backup, because if he's disgruntled, he wants to be traded, whatever. But I think while this is a out of the box kind of concept, and I know this is a really, especially for football, right? We don't see generally radical moves like this made in the NFL. But like I said, this is Tom Brady. And the Bears have a championship level defense. So when you have an extraordinary situation and an extraordinary opportunity, which is what I would call a chance to acquire Tom Brady, you sometimes may do something extraordinary. And I think that that's what that would be. Now, I'm not saying they should put all their eggs in this basket, but I do believe that at least making a phone call, if it hasn't been made yet, reaching out to Brady, his representation or whatever, and just getting a gauge on what his interest would be. If he is interested, what would it take to take the conversation to the next level? Is there some willingness at all for him to deal with a different type of system? Obviously, we're not running read options and that kind of crap with Tom Brady. We're not, and I'm not mean to call it crap like it doesn't work, but you're not running that kind of offense with him. You have to talk to Matt Nagy, say, hey, how do you feel? This is Tom Brady. Do you have a game plan that you can adapt and say, hey, no, we're going to call plays this way. We got a different personnel in there. Is that what we're going to do? I mean, to be honest, are we really looking at much different of a play calling system for Tom Brady than what we had for Chase Daniel last year when he played? Chase Daniel wasn't running around like Mitch Trubisky when he was on the field. So I think to feel or to act as if Matt Nagy would be completely incapable of calling plays for a immobile quarterback is, and I'm not calling Chase totally immobile, but I think that it's a little bit, kind of crazy to assume that that's just the way that would be. I use this analogy a lot. I watched Brian Billick, who was the offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings at one point, have this high-powered offense of Randall Cunningham, Chris Carter, Randy Moss. I believe Jake Reed was there at the time. Robert Smith was the running back. I mean, they just scored a ton of points. They were a fantastic offense. Felt like they were unstoppable. He gets the head coaching job with the Baltimore Ravens, and guess what? He looks and says, okay, we don't have the same personnel. Trent Dilfer's my quarterback. I think Cal Bola was the quarterback at first. He got hurt and then ended up being Trent Dilfer. We have a dominant, elite defense with Ray Lewis and company, and we have a big, nasty offensive line and a big, nasty running back in Jamal Lewis. Guess what? I'm going to adapt the way I call plays for the personnel that I have, and we're going to win a Super Bowl. And that's what happened. And I think that the best head coaches wrap their game plans around the personnel as opposed to vice versa. And if you talked about acquiring somebody like Tom Brady to go and play for Matt Nagy, that is essentially what you'd have to do. And as I said, I'm not saying you put all your eggs in your one basket and say, hey, we got to go get Tom Brady. It's TB or bust. I'm saying reach out. I'm saying make the phone call. I'm saying gauge the interest, because you do not get a chance to acquire the greatest quarterback that ever lived, whether he's 42 or not, every day. That opportunity just is not always there. And you owe it to yourself as a franchise, you owe it to your fan base, and you owe it to the other players on that team, both on both sides of the ball, to look into this option because of how much of an upgrade it could be. I mean, think about it. This is the oldest franchise in the NFL having Tom Brady on their team. The Bears already get tremendous coverage throughout the league, and they're, even when they're not that good. Imagine what that looks like. I mean, I don't know if the Monday night schedule is out yet, but Tom Brady's playing for the Bears. I'm willing to bet they got 4 or 5 prime time spots during the 2020 season. So I'm just wondering, that's just where I'm at with that. But let's stay with football, because there's a couple things I want to talk about from a draft standpoint from the Bears. The Bears have 2 picks in the second round, don't have a first round pick. And we clearly, I'm on Operation Fix the Bears, right? Clearly that's what I'm on. But there's 2 guys that I have an eye on specifically. And I have talked to you guys about the Bears needing to shore up their offensive line. And I think tackles are really the biggest area of concern. But with their tackles, I think they may be better off going through free agency to sign a top notch or a veteran offensive tackle. You can draft the offensive tackle later in the draft, but I don't know that they're going to be selecting in the second or third round with somebody that gives them the level of value they need. But another area of need to me is the center position. And some people might be saying, oh, well, Cody Whitehair is the center and he's pretty solid there. Actually, I think Cody Whitehair is a little overrated as a center. I think he's best suited playing guard. And now the Bears have gaps at guard as well. So my thought is, you want to play players at their best position. I understand you got guys that can play multiple positions, especially on the offensive line. But when at all possible, you want to play guys at their best position. And I think the best spot for Cody Whitehair is at guard, which would then, of course, open up an opportunity to play center. And this dude on the screen right now, I think, is an outstanding center prospect from LSU, Lloyd Cushenberry. You probably, unless you are like really a hardcore LSU or hardcore SEC fan, you may not even know who this is. Most football fans barely pay attention to the offensive line prospects. But I love great offensive line units. I love prospects who come from situations where I know they have they've received top-notch coaching for their position. He's playing alongside Damian Lewis, who is another high-level offensive line prospect. There are some mocks that have the Bears selecting Damian Lewis, a guard from LSU, with their first second round pick. I actually think I would prefer them going for Lloyd Cushenberry, who's right around that currently as evaluations go, because I love his athleticism. I like his leadership. I like the frame. He's about 6'4", 315 pounds, moves well, gets up out of the stance really quickly. I really like what I've seen from him. And of course, like I said, a part of a offensive line that has been dominant. I mean, you look at how many points LSU scored. I know Joe Burrow gets the love and he deserves it for how great of a college season that he had. But Lloyd Cushenberry is the man that's handing him the ball in between his legs, all right? And he's a part of a fantastic offensive line. And I think it really fits a need for the Bears in a major way to add that center. Because in my opinion, if you go and get a center that allows you to move Cody Whitehair back to guard full time, to me, you're literally improving 2 positions with 1 selection, because you're assuming Cushenberry can step in and be a player, right? Assuming he's able to do that, You're now being able to say, I'm going to put Whitehair back at guard where he's a better player. He replaces Rashard Coward or whoever else is there at guard that was terrible last year for the Bears. And now you have a Pro Bowl level player at guard and a guy with Pro Bowl level talent starting at center, getting those reps and able to step in. You literally, like I said, can improve two different positions with one selection. That's what I'm going for if I'm the Bears. Now, obviously, we got a lot of time left before the draft happens, combines, and all these different types of interviews and further analysis that are going to be done about these prospects. But as it is, February 21st, 2020, 2020, however you want to say it, I like Lloyd Cushenberry III as a solid second round pick, the first second round pick if they had to. Now, the second guy, and now I know I just talked really glowingly about Cushenberry. I know I did. But this next guy, you guys are going to really, I can hear the comments. Like I can see them happening. But this gentleman here, Kyle Duggar from Lenore Rhine, it's a Division II school. And I'm going to tell you, if you look at the tape on Kyle Duggar and you read what these expert analysis are saying and you watch him on the field, I know it's a Division II school and I know he's not playing against elite level competition all the time, but there are so many examples of guys who have come from these smaller schools who have been able to come into the NFL and make an impact immediately. Nelson, I see you in here. I appreciate you coming through. Actually, the link to the 2K channel should be in the description of the video. It should be. I'm pretty sure I put it in there. But the name of the 2K channel is 2K Franchise Gaming, just so you guys know. So if you're looking for the 2K content, that's where it is. But Kyle Duggar is a phenomenal safety prospect. He is an elite level athlete. And I'm not talking about elite level because he's at the Division II school. I'm talking about if you look at him on the screen, and if you also pay attention to what these early evaluations are from people who have longer list of tape to watch of him. On YouTube right now, I think there's like 4 full games or 4 full scouting videos for him. The dude plays like one of those safeties who is shot out of a cannon at the snap, who drops down, provides outstanding run support as a 7th or 8th guy in the box. And while I don't think he's played against the quarterbacks with the arm talent that you'll see in the NFL, which is probably one of the biggest question marks about how he grades out. But when you look at how athletic he is, athleticism is what generally sets your ceiling, right? You're only so fast. You only can jump so high. You only have the ability to carry so much, only so much, only so much muscle and only so much strength. So it kind of sets your ceiling. When you look at Kyle Duggar, you don't have any questions about where he can go from an athletic standpoint. I think with the proper coaching and the proper reps, he can get to a place where defending and not only will it not be a weakness anymore with him defending deep down the field or into those pocket areas of the zones where your safeties need to eat and make receivers pay for catching the ball, even though you can't do that as much as you used to. I think it can not only not be a weakness anymore, I think it can ultimately be a strength. I really think he's that level of an athlete. I'm going to throw a name out here for you right now. I'm going to throw a name out, and I'm ready. I'm ready for the smoke because I know the smoke is coming. But I feel I'm not bad at this. Looking at a player and creating like a sensible comp. When you look at Kyle Duggar, there's some Troy Polamalu there, man. I'm telling you guys, look at him. And now he's already grading out as a second round pick from a Division II school. So I'm not the only person saying good stuff about him. Okay. Look over the list of Division II guys who have not only gone on to have great NFL careers, you got some guys that are in the Hall of Fame from Division II schools. So this is not that crazy. I mean, you have some websites, things that I looked up. People are calling this guy the gem of the 2020 draft. Now, all that said is why I'm a little bit worried about him being available for the Bears to pick in the second round. He totally has the look of a guy who will go to the combine, start doing workouts, and jump into the first round. He has that kind of look because people are just intrigued about the way he approaches the game, the way he plays, how hard he plays, his leadership, instincts, all of those types of things. So I'm telling you, I am really on the Kyle Duggar boat, and I really hope that he's still around when the Bears draft. And even if the Bears like him so much that they're willing to move up a slot or so to get him, I think it would be worth it if they see the same things that I see in some of the other people who are evaluating the talent. See, I think I'm digging on the Cal Duggar train. All right. Greg Coxon says at some point, I have got to hear what you think about the show adding franchise rebranding for this year. Absolutely. You will probably hear that on that baseball channel, though, Greg. It is in the link to that channel is in the description. I appreciate you watching for sure. I have flipped this channel over where I'm pretty much just talking about real life sports and Chicago sports. But you know, like you, I love MLB The Show, and I cannot wait for March 17th. And I cannot wait to rebrand and franchise. It is my favorite thing to do in sports video games. So absolutely, if you can, so go ahead and subscribe to that channel. Somebody let me know for sure. I can kind of check, but that should be showing up in the description of this video. You should see the you ought to see the links to those channels. Yeah, it should be there. It says the Diamond Franchise Gaming, Greg. That link is for the baseball for MLB The Show. And Nelson asked about the 2K channel. It says 2K Franchise Gaming. There's a link in the description. Please subscribe to those. Support your boy. Your boy needs support. I'm telling you, your boy needs support. I'm just you don't even know how in need of support your boy is. All right. I appreciate you, Nelson, for sure. Yes, there. What's going on? Chris got fame. You already got fame. When you gonna share something with your boy? Your boy needs some fame too, bro. And yeah, but yeah, I didn't have it in there yesterday probably, so got it in there now. I'm still building out my little automatic description. You know, you can on YouTube, you can put in your description automatically and it comes up, you know, for every video, and you can just add stuff that's specific to that particular video. The wife reminded me of that yesterday, so I got to work on that. Hopefully I'll have that in place for today. And then for the videos that go up starting next week when Mazique Speaks returns on Monday, because it's a Monday through Friday show. You guys will get the hang of it. I didn't want to do this big elaborate rollout. I just kind of wanted to hit it every day, like I said I would, and then kind of get you guys to see what's happening. So yeah, but we'll be back on that on Monday. But I'll be talking some boxing and perhaps MMA tomorrow, Wilder Fury. And that'll be on the Fight Guys channel, which is the boxing MMA channel. The link to that is in the description as well. I have a partner there, Peter Khan, who is a boxing manager. He's actually a manager of Amir Imam, who is on the Wilder Fury card. So that's pretty awesome. We just put up some interviews with Tim Bradley, Deontay Wilder, Jimmy Lennon Jr. So did some good things this week. So take a look at that. All right, let's get back to the program, though. The wife is going to be mad at me because when she edits this video, she's going to have to kind of skip over that middle part, but it's okay. It's okay. She loves me anyway. All right, let's jump, though. We got to talk about the Bulls. And I'm upset. I feel like Drake. I'm upset. The Bulls ain't made the playoffs yet. I made that up. It's okay, never mind. All right, let's talk about Zach. Okay, Zach LaVine. And I am going to say it. I'm going to say it. I've changed my mind about Zach LaVine. Now, if you saw an earlier video that I did, that I'm almost been tempted to take off the channel because people came at it so hard. And not because people came at it so hard. I don't really care about that. But I almost was tempted to take the video down because I literally have changed my mind. I was on the trade Zach LaVine boat, and it was not because I don't like Zach. It wasn't because I don't think Zach's a good player. It was simply because I felt that the Bulls, and still feel that the Bulls need to somewhat rebuild. They need to disperse the assets. And in my opinion, the only player on their team of any real significant value was Zach LaVine. And I didn't think that he was quite good enough for them to build around. I didn't know that if he had the type of makeup from not, I don't even want to say competitive because I've always known he's competitive, but I didn't know if he had the leadership skills necessary to say, oh, you know what? He may not be the best player. He may not even be the second best player on a championship team, but he can be a part of it. But now I'm convinced that that's the case. The way Zach LaVine is going about this season right now, I mean, and this is, I said this before, I think I said this yesterday. This is a disaster right now, okay? The Bulls are a hot, flaming mess, a disaster in almost every single way. And one of the ways that one of the only ways they're not a disaster is Zach LaVine. Yesterday, he didn't even have a great game, right? He had a really poor shooting night. He was only 1 for 7 from 3-point range. He was 8 for 22 from the field, only 2 for 5 from the free throw line, which is totally not Zachish. So 19 points. But again, you know what impressed me so much? Even though he didn't have his shot going, he had 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals. This is Zach now, who notoriously hasn't played D, and a block shot. Only had 3 turnovers. And when you consider somebody didn't shoot the ball well like that and how he took 22 shots, you might think that he would have had more than the 3 turnovers. He didn't. He had the 3 turnovers in a game that he didn't really play well. And I'm going to tell you, man, that is the kind of effort for me that is really impressive. You know, Zach is playing for a trash head coach. Jim Boylan is struggling, man. I mean, he does not have his players engaged. He doesn't have players who seemingly want to play for him. He's got guys that are literally just going through the motions. And Zach is taking it upon himself to say, you know what? I may not like everything that's going on right now. I may not believe that we have the right kind of leadership. But here's what I will do, and here's what I can control. I can control my effort. I can control the way I approach every game. So if we lose, it will not be because I didn't contribute. If our locker room goes bad, it won't be because I threw teammates under the bus. It won't even be because I threw my head coach under the bus, even though he may need to be under the bus. I'm not doing it. And in his maturation and leadership, and the establishment of his leadership, I have totally changed my mind. He makes $19 million a year, which is not totally a max contract. And when you compare the other people in that salary range, you can make a strong argument he's the best player in that range. There is room to pay someone more than that. You got to remember, Otto Porter's making $24 million a year, and we've somewhat forgotten about him because he's been hurt most of the season. That's one player. You got Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr. Both are, WCJ stays hurt. Markkanen is just having a bad season. I totally would not balk at the concept of trying to move Otto Porter and trying to move Lauri Markkanen. And if it just gets you draft assets back or something to that effect, or maybe you just clear the salary in some way, shape, or form, right? I wouldn't be opposed to that because this core, as it is currently assembled, is not good enough. And I know they're young, but I don't believe that they're simply not good enough because they haven't gotten as good as they're going to get. I think that as a ceiling, especially with this head coach, which we all hope this is going to change starting next season, maybe even before next season. But with this coach, this situation, with those guys' talent, with those guys' mental makeup, I don't see them getting extraordinarily better than they are right now. And that is depressing, is what that is. That is depressing. And I no longer want to trade Zach. I really don't. I would much rather see Markkanen, Porter, somebody else moved that creates a better situation, gives them somewhat of a partial do-over. We talked about this yesterday. I don't know unless the Bulls really luck out in the draft lottery. I don't imagine that they will be in the position to draft one of those really elite guys, the Anthony Edwards, the James Wisemans, the LaMelo Balls. Without that, they're in a little bit of trouble. And they almost are forced to either do something through a trade, which is, like I said yesterday, one of the main ways they can get better, or hope and pray again that they can lure in a free agent, which has not worked out. So, all that said, Zach, you are balling. And I wish that you were getting more for your work. But yeah, it's not working out. All right, let's switch gears again. We're gonna talk still. We're gonna stay with basketball. We're gonna even stay with the Bulls. Because I had a question. I want to know, what do you guys think is going on with the usage of Daniel Gafford and Kobe White? I mean, I don't get it, guys. I just don't get it. I don't understand why they are not getting more consistent time. And with Kobe White, it's not even really about consistent time. Like yesterday, he played 30 minutes, shot only 3 for 11 from the field. He's 0 for 5 from 3-point range. Kobe White is obviously not a natural point guard. That's obviously not what he is. I know some people can argue, well, we haven't had an opportunity to see if he's a natural point guard yet. We don't know. Jim Boylan's playing him at shortstop and all this kind of crazy stuff that he's doing. And I think there's some validity to that argument. But stylistically, he just doesn't look like that. He just doesn't look like that guy who can become the type of point guard that the Bulls need, run the offense, create shots for himself, create shots for his teammates. I don't see it. So my thought of it is, because you don't have a small forward healthy right now anyway, right? You don't. But instead, I'm noticing that Boylan is starting Shaq Harris and he's starting Chris Dunn. Yesterday, he started Ryan Arcidiacono. Now, I love Arch. I love Arch as a backup point guard. I love him. And Arcidiacono did not technically start at small forward. He was the third guard in a 3-guard offense. And, Satoransky's like 6'8" anyway. So for the most part, he can guard most threes. But I don't understand how Boylan thought that Arcidiacono was a better option to come in and start with those injuries and over Kobe White. You're saying, oh, I want to maintain this scoring punch off the bench. And I think that Kobe White is that guy. And he is. He's very streaky. When he gets hot, he can carry the team for stretches. But you got to know what you have in Kobe White. And right now, I don't think the Bulls really know what they have. And their coach is not allowing them to see Kobe either perform or fail in the situations where right now he should be proving his mettle or proving his weakness. And it's not happening. And it's not happening because he's being pigeonholed into a role that might just be beneath him. So you're going to let this, I understand he's just a rookie, but are we going to let this guy's entire tenure go and come without ever really seeing? You didn't draft Kobe White number 7 overall or whenever he went for him to be a 6-man. That's not what you did. And your team's not good enough right now to relegate somebody who might be your second or third, your third or fourth best player. Obviously somebody from a talent standpoint who should be starting. So I have major beef with his handling. The other one is Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford, if you're looking at per minutes played, he has been very productive. Now, yesterday, you almost don't have an excuse for him. The fella fouled out in 16 minutes. He literally got 6 fouls in 16 minutes. 2 for 3 from the field, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, an assist, a steal. He's always active. This is what I love about Daniel Gafford, right? He is always active. I do think his basketball IQ could use some improvement for sure, but you cannot teach the effort. You cannot teach the athleticism that he has. And those two combinations for a big will take you a long way. All right. And I like what I've seen from him. And I don't for the life of me understand why in the world is Luke Cornett starting? Like, I don't mind Luke Cornett as a rotational guy, comes in and change the pace. He's a 7-footer who can knock down threes, is a decent shot blocker. I don't mind. Like last night, he played 15 minutes, which is okay. No problem. I wouldn't have him playing a problem with him playing 15 minutes. But the issue with that is that Gafford should be playing at least 28 to 30 if Cornett is playing 15. Gafford is so athletic. He changes shots more than Cornett, even though Cornett's 7 feet tall, but it's because Gafford has the length and that the quickness and the athleticism. He's just not getting the opportunity. And I think that that is another problem that Jim Boylen has. I mean, if we made a list of all of the substitution related issues that Jim Boylen has, we'd be writing that list for a week. And so there's a lot of them. So I'm focusing on those two because those two guys come in as rookies this year. And you got to ask yourself, as Bulls management, do we want to hand over yet another rookie class to Jim Boylen? And if you ask me, the answer is unequivocally no. Unequivocally no. No way in the world. We'll find out. All right, so let's do something we don't generally do, and that's called Leave Chicago. We're not going to technically leave Chicago, but you get what I'm saying. Last night, Trae Young goes for 50 points. Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm one of these people who is a bit fed up, or I shouldn't say fed up. I'm one of those people who is not really impressed with some of the big scoring numbers that we've seen from guys. It feels like this year and even part of last year, we were seeing 50 and 60 point games like running water. And to me, that doesn't tell me that the players are far more skilled than they are. And in some ways, I think they are. It doesn't tell me any of that. What it tells me is that one, teams don't play defense anymore. That's what it tells me. And for two, you got a lot more people who are shooting threes and they have broken the game down from an analytics standpoint. And they find out the best ways to get to the line, so on and so forth. I got it, right? But last night, when this kid goes for 50 points against one of the teams that I know for a fact is one of the best defensive units in the league, the Miami Heat, that was an impressive 50. That was because not all, like I said, not all 50-point games are created equal. But last night, Trae Young was 12 for 25 from the field, 8 for 15 from the three, 18 of 19 from the line. He had 8 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, a block, and a partridge in a pear tree. It was everything, right? It was everything. But he did have 7 turnovers, which is a lot. But when you go for 50 and a plus 10, and your team wins by 5 against a team that's grossly better than you, I gotta give the big ups to Trae Young for that performance. A 50-point game is a 50-point game. But when you do it the way he did it on Thursday night, I think it definitely deserved props. So Trae Young, in the words of the Beat Nuts, you get props over here. Great game. This was a little bit of a quicker show today. Obviously, we, like I mentioned, got some stuff going on. I tried to power on through this so that we can remain consistent. But as I mentioned at the outset of the show, please lift my brother up in prayer because, at some point, the phone calls and the people coming by and all that kind of stuff starts to wane. And then you left there to deal with yourself and whatever is the remnants of this situation. And so my heart goes out to him because I know where he is. I talked to him this morning and, but I could not be more proud of my brother. He is the man, really. So nothing but love for him, his people, and so on forth, so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up right here. But as usual, I appreciate you watching. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do it now. If you're interested in gaming or boxing and MMA, the links to those channels are in the description. Please subscribe to your boys' channels there as well. God bless and peace.